Hi everyone, it's Jen again. I am happy to report that I finished chapter 10 a little bit early. I guess I did kind of have it in the back of my mind that I wanted to try to still make the monthly updates if I could. And I really didn't think I would be able to, given that I had that respiratory illness and everything, but it ended up being a lot shorter than chapter 9. I think chapter 9 was just really, there's a lot of conversations going on with new allies, and there was just things that I needed to get set up for the war and everything, and then chapter 10 itself was just the war, and it really wasn't that bad as far as like needing as much writing and everything, so it just went by much faster. I didn't have as many new art assets to work on either, so yeah, again, I think that I would just recommend, like, if you find yourself in something of a slump, or you're kind of falling behind, or you're having health issues or other personal issues in your life where you're like, oh, I'm not going to be able to make my goals, just do what you can and don't worry about it. And life has a funny way of just kind of moving along, and those little steps that you take along the way just really do add up. Speaking of little steps, I have mentioned before on one of my YouTube videos about kind of slow and steady growth, and that has been the story of my YouTube channel and of my itch.io. Again, I had never really made any particular release that it was like, oh, now I got like a bunch of subscribers and this was my success story. It was always just a slow and steady trickle, and maybe when I released Soul Union, that very first day, that very first game, maybe I only got like 20 downloads, and now when I update Arcane Dice Wars, the first day that I release the update, I might get more around like 50 downloads. So I wouldn't say it's anything crazy, but again, it's just slow and steady progress. So I reached another milestone, that I reached 1,000 subscribers, or I should say followers on itch.io. And I decided that I would just kind of make a little celebration illustration. I was thinking in my mind that I wanted to make all the characters fighting the fighting Hydra, and I think I was thinking of this illustration in like Chrono Trigger cover where they're fighting one of the bosses or fighting some enemy. I don't even really remember it. I just remember the different characters kind of poised and attacking or ready to attack. And that was kind of my inspiration for this illustration, to just, I guess, celebrate reaching 1,000 followers. So normally I don't like to dwell too much on analytics, because I do think that it can be distracting and it can be discouraging if you, I guess, track them too closely, to feel like, oh, I went a week without getting any new followers or something like that. It can feel like a little bit discouraging that, oh, maybe I've reached a threshold, you know, maybe this is it, and there's no more room for growth, and I'm just gonna have to be comfortable with what I have. That the more I work on my projects and the more I release things and the more I feel like I'm improving, that doesn't necessarily translate to any measurable increase of anything. Just focus on the process and enjoy what I'm doing. Certainly I would not have made Arcane Dice Wars if I knew what everything was going to entail. Like, if in my original design document I laid out all the assets that I have in the game and how many words it is at now, and just if I had planned it out, I guess, from the very beginning to have everything that it has. Even just having the 13 unique elite units along with the 16 common units, like, that sounds like a lot of characters for an indie solo project. And I think it would have been very daunting to say, okay, you're gonna have these 13 characters, and they're all gonna have animated portraits, and then they're also gonna have animated battle sprites, and they're also gonna have detailed animated skill triggers, and then they're also gonna have separate animated bonding sprites, and then 6 of these are going to be romanceable and friendship routes. Like, I don't know, I think that would have sounded I don't know if I would have ever started the project if I knew that I was going to be putting all that into it. I think it would have seemed exhausting to have my eyes on the finish line, to have that check-off list of things that I've got to get done, as opposed to just kind of working on it and, again, just enjoying the process and doing what I can as I go along. And yeah, sometimes adding things that, wow, that's making a lot of extra work for yourself, especially with those skill triggers. But it was just something that I wanted to do because I enjoy animating, and I thought it would be fun to do. So those all added up, all those little things, just over the course of the last 2 years. And looking at it now is just kind of, I don't know, it's just, it's kind of amazing how much those things added up. Because I don't really feel like at any point like I was in a, toiling away, that I was feeling exhausted, that I was working like a dog or anything like that. Yeah, it was always just fun. And I hope that more people can find, I guess, that sense of joy in creation, whether it be art, writing, making games, just creating things, and not feeling like it's work, because it really does, for me, save me from the everyday real work, I guess, like the obligation stuff that I have to do, like going to my job and taking care of my dependents and things like that. And I keep on talking about this subject, but I just feel like there's still a resistance to it, because it really was, for me, an attitude change more than it was like really changing anything that I really do with my process. It was just having more of a presence of mind, and not thinking about all the things that I had been trained to think about, from going to art school and talking to professionals and talking to industry people, and all those places that give you advice for marketing, for monetizing, for growing your subscriber, and growing your wish lists, and all the numbers stuff that just distracts from working on the project and enjoying the project itself for art's sake, doing art for art's sake. And I just feel like that's not a very popular message, because a lot of what society teaches us is that if it's not making money, then it's a waste of time. Then it's just a hobby. Then it's, you know, that it's nothing that I guess other people are going to turn around and validate you. But that's the beauty of doing art for fun, is that you don't need to have validation because it is just fun in and of itself. And I feel so fortunate that I have, I guess, some followers that decided to join me along the way. I don't know, it feels like maybe I'm just telling myself stories to feel good, but because I feel like I'm just making my art for art's sake, doing the things that I want to do, and there are other people that can actually enjoy that, it feels like a real connection, as opposed to if I was making something that I was trying to people please and trying to go after a certain demographic or certain audience and cater to them. So I just want to also say that there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with wanting to make a living doing art and everything. It just wasn't for me. And I see a lot of depressed people, a lot of burnt out artists and burnt out creators, and maybe the solution is not just taking a break, going through the same cycles, you know. Maybe there's something else that'll work for you, and maybe it won't be what I've found worked for me, but I just encourage people to try something different, foundationally, because life is just too short to spend it, I guess, in these depressive and burnt out, tired, weary feelings, discouraged feelings. I would like to avoid that myself. Okay, well, this was my illustration, and I had fun making it, and I just want to thank everyone who is following me and who is following my game. And if you are working on something or have a desire to work on something, I just want to encourage everyone to enjoy the process and take care of yourself. Okay, take care. Bye-bye.